Good evening and welcome to the March 20th, 2012 Planning Commission meeting. Start off with roll call.
Commissioner Samut.
Here.
Vice Chair Biasotti.
Here.
Chair Mishra.
Here.
Commissioner Marshall.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Peterson and Commissioner Chase called earlier and they're not going to be able to make it tonight.
Okay. Thanks, Aaron. The Pledge of Allegiance will be recited by, will be led by Commissioner Marshall. Thanks.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Agenda item number 1, approval of the minutes.
Through the chair,
Commissioner,
I move that we approve, the commission approve the minutes of February 21st, 2012.
is there a second?
Second.
I actually have an amendment on page on page 3, down near the 2/3 of the page where it says, Chair Mishra, if there's something that the two planning commissioners feel strongly about, you may propose it as an amended resolution and we can vote on it. The next statement is what I'm disagreeing with, which is I disagree with the discussion and I would like to move forward with this application. I've asked Shauna to change it to I disagree with the, what was the language?
With the limitation of the number of children.
Discussion. It's my amendment, if you're comfortable with it.
Yes, I am.
Great.
Okay, second.
All right, any other items? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstentions? Meeting minutes are approved. Agenda item number 2, communications. Aaron?
For those watching at home, you can get the entire packet at sanbruno.ca.gov in the Community Development Planning section. Agendas there as well as the minutes and staff report for tonight's item.
Great, thanks. Next item, agenda item number 3, which is public comment on any items not on the agenda. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak on any items not on the agenda? Public comment is now open and closed. Moving on to 4, announcement of conflict of interest. None? Items closed. Public hearings. Item 5A, which is a request for a use permit to allow a large daycare operation in a single-family residential zone per sections 1284-200 and 1296-60C6 of the San Bruno zoning ordinance. Staff report, please.
Thank you and good evening. The application is for a large family daycare at 237 Acacia. This is a 5,000 square foot lot with an existing 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home, and they have a 2-car garage. The owner has been operating a small family daycare at this location since 2007. The property owners also operate a home occupation plumbing business from this property. They've had a business license to do so since about 2000. The owner is proposing to expand the existing daycare to increase the number of infants and to increase the general capacity. They propose to operate very similar to the existing daycare. The kitchen, dining room, and deck of the home are off limits for the daycare, but they do use the rest of the house as well as the backyard for the daycare operation. Their hours are from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. They are closed for holidays. Their drop-off time is from approximately 8 to 8:45 in the morning, with pickup of children from about 4:30 to 5:30. The applicant has described to us that they have 2 outdoor playtimes. As you know, we review any noise that could be generated from large family daycares. And they propose to have 1 hour in the morning of outside playtime as well as 1 hour in the afternoon. And the applicant has indicated that she specializes in younger children. And there are not any specific conditions in the backyard that would lead staff to believe there would be any excessive noise based on the age of the children and the outdoor playtime that she has proposed. Staff has mailed a courtesy notice as well as a legal notice. We've received comments from 4 neighbors. There are 2 letters of support that we received, and those 2 are attached to your staff report. We also received 1 anonymous letter, which is attached to the staff report as well, and that includes concerns about the plumbing business as well as the pickup and drop-off of children. Staff also received an email after the staff report went out, and that email was left for you on the table and also available to the public if they're interested. And you received that tonight, and it talks about the expansion of the daycare and the concerns there. So staff has included some specific conditions of approval to mitigate concerns about parking, traffic, and the plumbing business, which also operates from the site. So I'd like to draw your attention to a couple of conditions of approval. Condition of approval number 4 requires that the applicant park their personal vehicle in the garage 30 minutes before the daycare opens and 30 minutes after it closes in the evening. So when it's in operation, their vehicle would be in the garage. Condition number 5 requires any current and future employees to park their vehicle in the driveway. If the employee's vehicle encroaches into the sidewalk, then they would have to come back with a revised parking plan to the Community Development Director's satisfaction. And this condition is worded that way because they do have a substandard driveway compared to the current standard, which you know today is 20. So it's a legal non-conforming situation, but we want to make sure that any employees that are parked there wouldn't be encroaching excessively into the sidewalk area for pedestrians. Condition of approval number 6 requires that parents and guardians use the driveway for pickup and drop-off whenever possible, and only if the driveway is not available would they have pickup and drop-off in front of the house on the streets. We've also asked, as we often do on large family daycare operations, that the applicant update their written policies and make sure that the parents stay informed of the policies, and also to encourage the parents to be neighborly and abide by all traffic laws. Condition of approval number 10 is unique for a large family daycare, and that's because they do have the home occupation business that operates there. And so this is just a reminder that they have to comply with all aspects of the municipal code related to home occupations. And specifically, they can't have any non-resident employees report to work at the home. So this is to specifically address a concern in one of the letters that there, sometime in the past, were 2 vans that were parked in front of the property for the plumbing business. That's no longer the case. The applicant can give you a little bit more detail on that if you'd like to hear it, but we have confirmed that there are no employees of the plumbing business that report to work at the site. So with these conditions, staff does recommend approval of the large family daycare based on the findings of fact and the conditions of approval in the staff report. So I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Through the chair,
Commissioner?
I have a question on the hours of the on the conditions of approval number 4. This applicant shall park their personal vehicle in the garage within 30 minutes before and after daycare hours. I'm thinking about the after, that possibly that is, instead of after daycare hours, it should be during the daycare hours when parents are coming. That's when it would be best to park in their garage, because that will open the space while parents are picking up and neighbors are parking. So if it's afterwards and parents have already picked up.
I think I understand our intent is that they park there 30 minutes before it opens in the morning. So they'd be parked there from 7:30 in the morning. The daycare closes at 5:30. Then they'd be parked there till 6 to give a little overlap in case any parents are arriving a little early or a little late, and they'd be parked there all day.
Okay, I didn't interpret it that way.
So we can clarify that language.
Chair, maybe if you put and until 30 minutes after, because you want them parking there all day long. I think that's just
Good, thank you.
clarification.
Any other questions for staff? Thanks, Laura. Oh, actually, I have one. For the record, can you just confirm that these photos were all taken of the same property? I know they're taken on 2 different days, so I just want to confirm.
They're taken on 2 different days by staff.
Yeah, so they're on the same property?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Yeah. Will the applicant come up to the podium and state your name and tell us about your project?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Nora Dowd, and I live at 237 Acacia Avenue. I've ran a home daycare for 5 years, almost 5 years, and now I wish to expand to a large daycare, mainly because my granddaughter requires a space. My daughter has gone back to work, and with the larger license, it allows me to have an extra infant under 2. So I will be able to take care of my granddaughter without any loss of income. And I will also more than likely take other kids, but that's my main reason for looking for the large license. And I've had no problems, complaints from neighbours for the 5 years. I've always made sure that the people that came by to enroll with, it was explained to them that parking was to be respected for the neighbours coming and going, and that in no way were they ever to block somebody's driveway. And I've never had anybody come to me and say that there was a problem with my drop-offs or pickups.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Nope.
Through the chair.
Commissioner?
I had the opportunity of visiting your site today, and I saw that you have that you can actually access entering through the front door and as well as a side entrance.
Sorry?
That there's access to enter and exit through the side entrance. Do you ever use that as a?
I just use it for taking the kids outside because I don't use the deck to go in the backyard. I just use that because it's flat the whole way out to the backyard. We use it at the weekends and at night ourselves personally, but the parents don't ever come through the garage.
It's actually quite accessible and it's an easy access. You've walked me through that. And having coming out on the south side door is allows it's an easy access. So it's also might expedite families to come in and out. Sometimes,
Yeah.
When you expand to a larger environment, parents might take a little bit longer to leave at the end of a day because they're waiting to sign in and out, or they may be wanting to have a bit more of a chat with you.
Okay.
And so you may want to consider having that as an option.
Yeah.
If you see that parents are staying longer, because parking will be an issue, and that's my main purpose.
Yes.
And it really did allow easy access in and out of that area. It's a very clean access, and there isn't any hill, there isn't any issues. So
Yeah.
children, it felt very safe as you walked me through that area.
Mm.
So would that be something you could consider?
Yeah.
I'm certainly not making that a recommendation, but I'm
Yeah.
posing
What
it
I
as
like
an
to
option.
do with the parents, I write a log every day for every child, so it minimizes the discussion in the evening or in the morning. I write a log, detailed log for each child every day.
Mm.
And between that and email and stuff, we really don't have parents hanging out very long, like they used to one time. I did daycare years ago. They would hang out to find out all the details, but I've kind of taken care of that by having it written for them, and they can also email me or call me at night.
Okay. And having a larger daycare requires a different ratio. And so you currently have one employee,
Yes.
and will you have a second employee?
I'm not sure. With 2 employees, I'd still be in ratio with 1-to-6 ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not. I probably would have a part-time helper, maybe. Yeah.
But a larger daycare is a 14 ratio.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to take the 13th or 14th child because they would be like a kindergartner or first grader, and my kids, I usually don't keep them past 3.5. So I really wouldn't have any interest in having a 5 or 6-year-old with my kids because I'll have like 4 kids under 2, and I think the mix wouldn't be appropriate for when I have the younger kids.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. You can take your seat. You can take your seat. Thank you. Open up public comment. Any members of staff? Any members of the public? All right, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the Planning Commission for discussion or amendments.
Through the chair,
Yes, please.
I had the opportunity of visiting the site. I went indoor and outdoor and in the garage, and I did not see any plumbing activity or storage of items. And so I wanted just to make that known. And I wouldn't have known actually that there was a business, a plumbing business, being operated in that site. So, and I think that there is opportunity to create an environment that is safe and accessible. And in speaking to the applicant, she clearly indicated her reasoning. I mean, I understand things can change in time, and there's no guarantees that she wouldn't go to 14, but her philosophy and goals appear to be in alignment with a smaller expansion versus the 14. But there's no control over licensing. You either have a small daycare or a large daycare. There isn't an option. So if there isn't any other discussion.
I actually have a question for you. On the plan on Exhibit C, in the garage it says walk through to the yard, and I think that was the door that you were speaking of.
Yes.
When a car is parked there during the day, is that path still accessible?
It is accessible. In discussing this with the applicant, she indicated that their goal is to park their vehicle in the garage throughout. And it would still have an accessible area. When I stepped out into that area, I looked clearly, and it's a direct walk to that door. So there
Okay.
is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're free to make a...
If there are no other questions, then I would be happy to make a motion that the Planning Commission approve use permit 12-002 based on the findings of facts 1 through 4, subject to the conditions of approval 1 through 25.
Any second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any question on the motion? None? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No abstentions either. The motion's approved. There's a 10-day appeal period. All right, item number 6, which is discussion, city staff discussion. Aaron?
First is selection of Architecture Review Committee members for the April 12th meeting. Any volunteers? Commissioner Marshall? Commissioner Samut? I will give the other 2 commissioners a call, and if not, I'll give everyone a call.
Thank you.
I can be
So-
considered as a backup.
Okay, that works. Update on development activity. Cedar Mills on the corner of Cedar and Pepper. Miriam was nice enough to show me there's an ad in the paper here. They're finished with their model homes. We're almost ready to sign the certificate of occupancy for those. So they're going to start showing those, and they've started construction on about a half a dozen others. So those should actually be completed. It's amazing how quickly they build these. They build them in about 3-4 months because they do a lot of the construction off-site and then put it together on-site. So that's going. Up in Glenview, our first family moved home about 2 weeks ago. We should have about another 4 or so families move in within the next month. So that's kind of the first phase. There's a total of about 15 homes under construction right now, another 4 that should break ground relatively soon, and another 5 or so that are working with architects. The city, as you know, there's a number of lots that are owned by PG&E that is part of the settlement agreement will be turned over to the city. I think there's about 5 of them at this point. So that's something that we're going to have neighborhood meetings with to see how those lots should be reused in the end. So I could take any questions about any developments. And actually, one other development, Treetops, is going well. I don't know if you've all had a chance to drive by there yet. But they're actually, for how long they've taken to start, they're actually making some good progress now that they have started.
Through the chair.
Commissioner?
How about the distillery spot?
That's, Laura's actually been in contact with their architect. Their architect has turned in conceptual plans for that to just be renovated into a restaurant, not the one that was approved a few years ago. Since that time, it went into foreclosure, and these new owners bought it from the bank, and now they're just doing more modest renovation inside and out. It's probably going to go to the Architecture Review Committee relatively soon.
Any other questions for staff or discussion? Let's open up Planning Commission discussion.
Yeah, through the chair.
Commissioner?
Just so that no one thinks I'm up here playing video games, I tried using my iPhone tonight to do the staff report on, and it seemed to work pretty good. So, just so that no one home thinks we're playing games up here while we're running a meeting.
I actually have a Planning Commission discussion item, and I wanted some clarification. I understand as far as power generation on your own property, using solar panels or wind turbines or windmills, etc. You're able to sell that power back to the PG&E grid. But if someone wants to put something heavy duty on their property, which is still within the regulations we have, and sell it to their neighbors, or do an agreement where all the solar panels are on one house, but the power is actually being diverted to 3 houses in the neighborhood. Does the city have anything to help them in order to facilitate the power sharing agreement so that a grid can be taken off PG&E lines, can be reconfigured so that a corner of the city property, or not city property, but if a neighborhood wanted to get together and say, we want to generate our own power and get off the PG&E grid, can the city facilitate that? And is there something that we have to look into?
It's definitely something we have to look into, because I don't know the answer to that. I've heard as we're doing the Glenview rebuild, we talk to people about what other people are doing, and I've heard of newer construction in neighborhoods where they have some type of solar farm in the middle of the neighborhood that the neighborhood could power off of. I haven't heard about it from a retrofit standpoint, but obviously it can be done. But let us take a look at that, and actually Tony has quite a bit of experience now working with renewable energy, so I think he could have the right contacts to find out that info.
Right, and my personal reason for asking this question is there's a lot of people who are going to be agitated by PG&E's response to how they're going to be upgrading, and I wanted to be able to find venues for them to have options.
That makes sense.
Thank you. Any other discussion items? Nope. Then we're adjourned to April 17, 2012. Thank you.